What's going on, guys, and welcome back. So based on our other video, and obviously you can go check it out for reference, where we had almost 400 tops through nationals, through YCSs, through regionals, all that, we decided to do our tier list kind of heading into July. I did have one image not seem to want to pop up on here, and that was the Marincess one. For some reason tier maker decided to not accept that image or something, I don't know. So I was gonna put Marincess at tier 2. They're getting that little bit of support actually today at your local OTSs, tomorrow all over the place in the new legendary duelist set. They're getting a couple new cards. We're also getting a forbidden droplet reprint again, so that's actually pretty cool. Without further ado though, guys, let's jump on into this tier list for the July 2022 format. Starting out, we have ABC, very specifically ABC Therion. It's a deck that's doing pretty well overall this format, and I expect it to keep doing good. Tier 1.5 there. Then Tri-Brigade is another deck that's actually been doing pretty good overall in this format. I did split it up, however, doing like Tri-Brigade variants and Bird Up, because I do think that Bird Up is significantly better than the other Tri-Brigade variants, and I'm going to put Bird Up at 1.5 as well. On the same note, Eldritch and Branded Eldritch also being split up separately, and we're going to keep that run going. We're going to keep going 1.5 on these decks as long as we can. Let's go ahead and move them right up into this area. Then we have our first rogue deck of the format, and this one's just going to be Cyberse. We've used that guy for Cyberse Eldritch in the past. Now we're just putting Cyberse Eldritch with Trap and everything else. But overall, Cyberse, just as a combo deck, I think there's just way better options, but some people are going to be dedicated and like to play it, so Cyberse is still a solid rogue strategy and has seen a couple tops this format. DDD sees a little bit of success, but it's also a harder deck to pilot. I'm going to put it at tier 2, because tier lists aren't just how good is the deck, it's also the representation and who's playing the deck. So the fact that less people are playing it and its representation isn't good, I think that's why it's a good strong tier 2 deck. Despia, no surprise here, tier 1, arguably best deck, second best deck, top 3 deck. Like, no one's going to argue that Despia is in that top category. With, well, now with the most recent week of events in the past, this deck probably has over 80 tops already. It had 65 when we did the video last time, so there's no doubt in my mind that Despia is a tier 1 deck. Dynamorphia, it's another one of those decks that can come in as a strong rogue strategy. Dragon Link, this one I was a little conflicted, but I don't like to go more than 4 tier 1 decks, so we're actually going to put them right near the top of tier 1.5. At the time I did that video, out of like the 360, they only had 13 tops, which by only, that's a lot of this tier 1.5 category is in that like 10 to 20 top range, but of those 13 tops, they won 6 events. Like, they had a 50% conversion rate on tops to wins, so that is just very, very impressive. Drytron being the next one. Resurgence bent into 2 helped out a pretty good amount with some consistency issues, going back towards the Vanities build a lot of the time. Drytron was a deck that was still like rogue tier 2 before the bent into 2, and now it just got a little bit better. Eldritch, we're going to put them at the top of tier 2 again. This is more Trap Eldritch. Every Eldritch but Branded Eldritch. Like, this is the other Eldritch variants. I think they're good tier 2 decks. Evil Twin, now this one I was again a little like, where do I want to put them? Are they really good rogue? And I'm actually going to put them as a lower tier 2 deck, just based on how many tops they're getting this format. Floowandereeze, yeah, there's no doubt here. Floowandereeze, it's one of those decks that people hate to play against, but at the same time, it's not like super oppressive or anything. It's just one of them really annoying good decks. Tier 1 for Floowandereeze. Ignister, this deck has come and gone on these videos, and I'm actually going to go all the way up and put them as a low tier 1.5 deck. Infernobles, it seems like they pop up just here, just there, but when they do, it seems like it's a win most of the time. This time, however, it wasn't, but Infernobles is a good rogue strategy. Then continuing it on with our rogue decks, we have Infernoid. It's one of those decks that you're definitely not going to want to play against, but you know, it's a deck full of DD Crows. Can you beat DD Crow? No? Well, you definitely don't want to play Infernoid. I think like DDD, it's a deck that takes a really good pilot and someone who knows what they're doing to really take advantage of it and do well. Then we have Invoked Dogmatica Shaddoll. This deck it's pretty much always like Rogue tier 2, but we've seen it as high as tier 1 for quite some time. Just today it happens to fall as a tier 2 deck. Normal Summon Alistair will never get old. Libromancer, another new deck like Dynamorphia, coming in as a rogue deck that is seeing success. Madolche, another rogue deck. So any of these rogue decks are definitely decks that you can see success with. You're just gonna have to be a pretty good pilot and maybe have a little RNG or good matchups fall your way. Tier 2 are decks that are just no-brainers, can do really well. Tier 1.5 are decks that like would not surprise you at all to win an event. Tier 1 are just the decks that by sheer volume you expect to see them the most, top the most, win the most. Invoked Mech Knight here is also seeing some success at the competitive level. We're going to put them at rogue. The deck everybody absolutely loves to hate, Sky Strike. Oh wait, no, that's just Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine Burn is a pretty good rogue strategy as well. Not the best deck. Pendulum Magicians, rogue. This next one hurts me. P.K. I really like Phantom Knight, but I can't put them any higher than rogue. When I did the video, they only had 2 tops, and I think it's just because there's so many decks that are better, and a lot of the PK players just move on to those types of decks. And if we start seeing some of them cards getting hit and banned and decks being knocked down a peg, then I could see PK coming back a bit. But for now, it pains me to put it, but PK has to go to rogue. As far as how good is the deck, it could be a 1.5 deck, but it is just not seeing the representation to be there. Plunder Patrol, another really strong rogue deck. Predaplant, same thing there, another rogue strategy. The rogue ones are not in order by any means. I am kind of trying to put these ones in order based on my opinion. But, you know, hey, we might miss one a little bit here or there. Going back up to the top, though, Tier 1, Punk. This is Punk Therion, this is Punk Adventure, it is Punk Adventure Therion. The deck is really good, really consistent, and can do really good toolbox, you know, whether you're using like Calamities, whether you're going Chaos Ruler plus the Zombie Synchro 8, which like Punk Zombie too. I definitely should have included Punk Zombie into Rogue now that we think about it. This deck, like I said, this video is way more so based off decks in that video that are actually topping this format. However, Punk Zombie is a good rogue deck that I've seen a lot online, and you should be ready to play against it. They use Chaos Ruler and then the rank 8 zombie guy now to mill off 5, and then they mill off 4 from both decks, and it's just a really good strategy at the moment. Originally wasn't going to have this deck really in here, however we did end up deciding to put it in. It was like I guess it did get a couple tops, I just apparently missed it when I was doing my list. That's like that Synchro combo deck. However, I just think like Synchro Adventure, Dragon, Sad, if that's what we're calling it, it's way too good despite the lack of tops in like the majority of these events. It is just way too good to not have there. I'm going to put it at the top of tier 2 with a huge asterisk on it because this is a borderline tier 1 deck. I'm not seeing enough people playing it, I guess, to get those tops. But like as far as how good is this deck, it's borderline tier 1. How many people are playing it? What are the odds it sees a lot of success? That's why I'm going to drop it down a bit. But like, don't be mistaken, like Sad is absolutely a deck you need to know how it functions. We're also going to start working on some how to beat videos. I know I've said it before, we've gotten kind of busy. other video stuff starting to wrap up, so we're gonna get to that very soon. Let us know what decks you would like to do. Obviously we'll hit the tier 1 decks too, but like, let us know down below, what decks do you want to learn how to beat more consistently. The biggest surprise to me of this entire video now, Salamangreat. Did you know they had the 5th most tops when we went and looked at almost 400 tops? Salamangreat had the 5th most. I think it's because it's so popular and it's such a fan favorite deck. I'm going to put them as a pretty good tier 1.5 strategy. Now we got to Mystic Mine, Sky Striker. They just won the YCS semi recently, and we're going to put them, where do we put them? Like, is it just because Mystic Mine? It's hard to say that because the deck's never really decks kind of always come and gone and been there a little bit. We are going to put them in the 1.5. You might say, oh, well, why are they way back here? Yeah, they won the YCS, but if you look at the bigger picture, they're doing good, but they're really not doing that great. Sun Avalon now, strong tier 2. Can't really put them up anywhere higher than that. Swordsoul. To me, Swordsoul is best deck. They have the most tops, the most wins. It's not even close. Like, they have a double-digit lead in both categories. They have a good Despia matchup, which is the 2nd best deck. So there's really no question at all that Swordsoul is a tier 1 deck. Thunder Dragon's one of those rogue decks that's popping up and doing decent. Earth Machine seems to almost have fallen off a little bit. However, you really can't ignore how good this deck actually is. I'm going to put them as on the back end of tier 2. Other Tri-Brigade variants we're going to bump on up in here. More on the front end of tier 2. Trickstars. Yes, Trickstars are back. There was one Trickstar deck that topped, and there's another one that was like a Sky Striker Adventure Trickstar branded pile deck that I've actually still looking for that deck profile on, but gonna be interesting because there's that new strategy that definitely kind of burns and mills, and I think Trickstars really will fit that kind of neatly. I want to mess with it. I know Brock is a huge Trickstar fan. I've always liked the deck a little bit less, but nonetheless have liked it. I kind of want to mess with them a little bit, though. I think that there's some potential there, and it's kind of neat to see Trickstar popping back up in the video. Virtual World, whether it's Adventure, whether it's Punk, whether it's Pure, I think they're a pretty decent tier 1.5 deck. And that kind of wraps it up for today for us. Let us know what you think. Like I said, the top 3 are kind of in order. Give or take a little bit. The rogue decks are just kind of thrown in there as rogue strategies. If the deck you play was missed and it is not the Marincess, which we already said Marincess in tier 2, I don't want to put them too high because I want to see them do something, but I think they're going to be a little bit better than rogue. But if your deck is not on here, that means there's a good chance it would be in that rogue category, whether good rogue or bad rogue. That is up for everyone to decide. Let us know down below how you like the video, and until next time, guys, take care.